Hello and welcome back to the shop. Today we're out here with the heat going. We're feeling comfortable, and look at what we got lined up for snacks out here, all from Wisconsin. Let's take a look at these. The sweet bourbon flavored beef sticks. We got the mozzarella cheese whips, the DuPont cheese curds, Mom's Best Bakery salted caramel chip cookies, and of course Sprecher maple root beer from Glendale, Wisconsin. We're gonna be just shooting the shit out here, taking a look at some things over here. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so this is what we're gonna be taking a look at on the bench today. This is what I wanted to show off, was this Wefomey 72 watt universal power adapter. I just recently picked this up to solve a problem. I'll go into that later, but I think this is a really good tool. It's like $18. You can see it goes from 3 volts to 24 volts with max output 3 amp current. And it's a really nice little tool to have. Now, I've seen on some of the Amazon reviews, people are using this in permanent setups. Personally, I don't think that's the correct usage for it. I think this is just for testing electronics out. I would be worried if I was using this in a permanent setup, you know, a dog knocks over by it or something, and you know, you have it set to 12, the dog bumps it up to 24, and your device is shot. So I wouldn't use this in a permanent application. I think it's great for testing. And it does have these little tabs on the side. You can see, I think what I'm gonna end up doing is mounting it up on the wall over there, you know, keeping the wires nice and tidy up into the power strip right there, and then I can get a nice little piece that I can grab whenever I need to test it. So the reason why I ended up finding this is because I had this old jump pack. So you can see this jump pack here. This I've had for 5 or 6 years, a good amount of time, and it's worked great. However, I needed it recently to charge my car because I hadn't ran it for a long time. It was dead, and I grabbed this. I did luckily get 1 jump out of it, but that was it, and then it wouldn't take a charge again. And honestly, I couldn't remember the last time I had previously charged this. I think it had been 2 years, so I was happy to get the 1 jump out of it that I did get after neglecting it for almost 2 years. Let's take a look here. When I plug it into USB there, it's 5 volts, 2 amp, and it would say charging, but it would just stay at 0%. It wouldn't increase whatsoever. I did notice this other input, 15 volts, 1 amp right there. So I was like, oh, if I got a power supply that can plug into that, maybe I can bring that battery back around to take a charge. Because I'm sure, as many of you know, you got a dead battery. Sometimes you can send a little more voltage through it, snap it back into life, get it going for a little while longer. And that's what I wanted to do with this. So I looked through my bag of power supplies. I don't know if you're like me, but I have just a bag full of power supplies like this. And so I'm looking through, and you know, I got ones that have the right voltage and amperage, but none of the ends fit in them. So I'm like, well, let's go on Amazon and see if they make adapters for the different barrel plugs like this. And sure enough, they did. And it just so happened that this set came with this variable power supply. Like I said, $18 all day. You can't beat that. So you can see you get some USBs, you get all the different barrel style plugs. It's just a really nice piece of kit to have. And then over here, it also comes with alligator clips. I think this is just like an extension. And then one that's just got a couple pigtails on the end of it. So I really like this for testing different devices out, and it's going to come in handy. And by the way, when I put 15 volts into here off of this thing did indeed charge up to 100%. Just because I get a lot of people in my comments, sometimes you know, they're just not the brightest bulbs in the pack. Let's quickly go over how you match a power supply like this to a device, or how you would figure out, you know, what you would set this to. I mean, that's pretty simple. But let's say that you're trying to find a power supply to fit a device. what's the way to go about that. Every device should somewhere have a label on it that tells you what kind of voltage it expects and what kind of current it's going to draw. So on the device that you're trying to power, say this speaker here, if you look on the label somewhere, it's going to tell you input. And this one says 5 volts, 2 amp. So this would, want a 5 volt, 2 amp power supply to it. Now, when you're looking at a power supply, you're going to be looking at the output of the power supply, and you want to match the voltage. That's really the most important one. Match the voltage. A lot of newer electronic devices have over voltage and under voltage protections built into them, but if they don't, you're going to wreck the device if you go too far above or under the voltage. So always match the voltage. And then the amperage of the power supply, you want to be equal or greater than what the device is going to draw. So if the device draws 2 amps, you want your power supply to be rated for at least 2 amps or more. And that's basically it. And then obviously the end has to fit. All right, so we're going to turn this meter on to voltage. We're on DC already. And let's see how accurate this display is on here. We're going to turn it on right now. All right, so we got 1408 on the meter that I would trust. And we got 14.1 on the device itself. So that's, that's pretty close. It's bouncing around between 14.1, 14.2 on here. It's staying pretty consistent. 14.0. So let's turn it down to the lowest setting. We got 3.14 on here, 3.066 on the low end, the middle going back up. Let's go to 15.6. We're at 15.5 right there, so that's within 1/10 of a volt. And then on the high end, 24.4, 24.18, so accurate within 2/10, which is close enough. I mean, when you're just powering on, you can be a few volts off, really. It's not going to be that close. So being within a few tenths of a volt, that's close enough, as accurate as you're going to need. The other cool thing that I did see somebody in the Amazon reviews using this for is electrolysis. So for removing rust from one part and moving it over to a sacrificial part. That could be a good use case for it. Of course, I usually just would use old school manual battery charger. Work good for that because they don't have, the smart functions that these things do. Those won't work for electrolysis, but that one, the old school, definitely does the job for that. You haven't seen these meters, these KAIWEETS. This one right here, HT118A, just packed full of features. This thing can do pretty much anything. I mean, I had a Klein meter before this and couldn't do half of what this thing can do. Of course, obviously you can get Kleins that do all these things, but if you get a Fluke or something, you're going to be paying out the ass. This can be had extremely cheaply. And like I said, it does everything. So I got this one, and like I said, I really love it. I got this one right here. This one's the HT206D. This is a clamp meter. So the reason why I wanted a clamp meter is for checking current, obviously. This one does both AC and DC current. So you can just clamp this around a line. Say if you got a parasitic draw on a vehicle that you're trying to track down, you can use this to do it instead of wiring, in series through the meter like you would have to with this. You can just clamp around the wire. So that is really cool. And then finally, this KAIWEETS, looks like this is a ST120. This is the one that I keep in my auto tool cart, the one that, rolls up next to the vehicle that I'm working on with me, because this one is just it's not the most accurate thing in the world. It's pretty damn close, but if I want accuracy, I'm gonna pick this one up. But this one's really good just for seeing if you're even in the ballpark with something. And when you're elbow deep in grease and grime, I'm going to grab this just to poke it into something to see if I'm where I want to be. The other thing that's really nice with this one is it's completely auto. So it knows what you want. I mean, if you just are looking for continuity, you touch it, it's going to know. If I jam this into the AC mains here, it's going to give me AC voltage. If I touch it to a battery, it's going to give me DC voltage. So it just is smart enough to know what you want. Like I said, maybe not the most accurate, but for troubleshooting, this thing is freaking awesome. Those are all the things. I guess one last thing, if we want to really be shelling out for products off of Scamazon, when I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be able to revive this thing, I bought this. And for whatever reason, if you're not an Amazon Prime member, this thing is like $180, but if you're Amazon Prime, then it's $90. So I don't know, I paid $2 to get Amazon Prime for a week and bought it. It's obviously way bigger than this one. It has a bigger capacity, it can handle bigger engines, and what kind of got me wanting to buy this thing is that it also has an air compressor built into it. So that's really cool. I'm just going to show you that really quick. I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of these before, but I'm just going to turn the display on and show you what this thing looks like and does. And I got a 3-year warranty with this thing too, so it's not bad at all. So you can see I turn it on. There's the display. Obviously, if you wanted to hook jumper cables to it, you could. It just does like all these other jump packs do. It comes with one of these style connectors, plugs into it, you clamp it onto your battery, away you go. But then it also has air compressor built into it. So if I press on, it looks like a little bicycle pump icon over here. There's little symbols with presets that you can change. So for a vehicle, 36, but like I said, if your vehicle takes something else, you can change that preset to whatever you want. Then there is a motorcycle preset, a bicycle tire preset, a ball preset, and I don't know what this one is. I'd have to crack the manual. It's a little picture of a guy, and it's got 0 PSI out of the factory preset. But let's do a ball here. Got a football. Is the season for football. See, we got 5 PSI on our football right now. Hold the button. Oh, it doesn't blow it up. Jesus Christ, that last half a PSI took forever. Let's see what it feels like. Oh yeah, I can say that's about 8 PSI. A little too much for a football, it feels like, but it says 7 to 9. You know, I don't have a good grip as I used to when I was younger. I like my football to be a little deflated, just like Tom Brady, you know? Alright, well that's it. That's gonna wrap it up. I gotta clean all this shit off my bench. Thank you for spending some time with me out in the shop. Y'all have a nice day.
Did you know you can take your favorite shows with you wherever you go? Enjoy over 80 channel apps from some of your favorite networks, such as Showtime, AMC, and HBO.